Welcome back to the Get Loved Up podcast, your number one resource for inspiration and motivation to live your purpose, make healthy living a priority, and thrive doing what you love. I'm your host, Koya Webb, a small town girl who chased her dreams and caught them, a former track and field athlete who healed using spirituality and yoga, and an entrepreneur who didn't let sexual assault, racism, and insecurities dim her light. And now it's your turn to allow these episodes with some of the top voices in spirituality, wellness, and entrepreneurship to inspire you to thrive. Let's get loved up together. Lauren Messiah is revolutionizing the way people dress through her comprehensive approach to elevating one's life through style, working from the inside out. With her signature method of combining style with personal development, Lauren bridges personal styling and life coaching to curate a closet and look that supports one's goal and takes the stress and self-doubt out of looking one's best. The stylist, educator, and digital influencer has coached over 5,000 clients globally through her online courses, leaning on her personal journey of self-discovery through fashion and her years of being one of the most sought-after celebrity stylists. Lauren! Wow, I am so excited to have you here.
I'm excited to be here.
I mean, look at this woman. If you can't see, you have to go to YouTube, right? She is styling and profiling. She is Miss Style Boss. We met through like a mutual agent and have been friends ever since and just getting to know each other better. And what I love is that like, I really feel your energy, like with what you wear, with how you show up. And I want to share kind of like a little bit about what you just shared with me, because I'm so excited. I'm like, I got to talk about this first. You just had an incredible launch, the launch of your career. I want you to share about that. You know, I want you to share the journey of that, and then we'll go backwards because I know you're so excited.
Sure. Yeah. So it's funny. We were kind of catching up beforehand. I had a different business before, well, alongside the business that I have today. And in that business, I taught aspiring stylists how to start a styling business. And it was really interesting because I did that for 12 years. And for a long time, like towards the end, I would say maybe even like the last 5 years, if I'm being completely honest, I wasn't really happy. And it's interesting, like going from, you know, a 9-to-5 to entrepreneurship, right? Of like wanting to break free, work for yourself. You do that. And then you feel like your entrepreneurial journey is your 9-to-5 again. Because I had like another entrepreneurial thing happening. I'm like, oh my gosh, but this is making me so much money and everybody likes it. But I didn't feel fulfilled. So at the end of 2020, October 2020, I was like, you know what? I'm done. Yeah. I'm out. Like, I'm leaving this business. It was making me so much money. And I had so much security and so much of my identity was tied to it. Yeah. But I'm like, you only have one life. So I left that. And literally for the past year since then, every day I would get DMs, I would get emails, I would get comments on my YouTube. When's your class coming back? When's your class coming back? I'm like, never. Go away. Get out of here. And then just like during a meditation, I just got the download of like, no, you need to help this audience, but you can do it in a different way. So I started to think about the business that I had before, and I compare it to the business I had before was like teaching people how to bake cookies. Yeah. And the new program that I've created now is teaching people how to have a bakery. Right? Like if you want to have a successful business that's, you know, sustainable, that's profitable, you have to have purpose. Right. And you have to actually know how to be an entrepreneur. So I launched this program called Style Boss Academy that teaches people how to start an actual business, a purpose-driven business. Because if you have no purpose and you have no why behind your business, you don't actually have the fuel to keep it going, no matter how much money it makes you or doesn't make you, how much you love what you do, you will get burned out. It's a business. And that's what happened to me. It's like, well, I built something awesome and it makes money, but I'm not happy. It wasn't aligned with my purpose. So I want to help these women who want to start their businesses find the purpose and the passion behind it, get a structure that actually will make them money to build an empire, which is what I've done essentially.
Right.
And it feels so good. So I said, all right, we're doing it. I said never again, but it was never again like that. It's now different. And I had an incredible launch. I'm welcoming so many style bosses to my little universe. And I couldn't be more excited.
Congratulations. I mean, that just made me so happy when you told me that. I was like, we got to start with that. We got to lead with that. And I think it's so important because a lot of people are finding themselves right now in your same position. I'm doing this thing. It's bringing me income, or maybe I had to switch and pivot during, this pandemic that we're in. And they're like, but I don't feel fulfilled.
Yep.
So can you share a little bit about what did you do? Because you also had a partnership and things like that. What were some of the lessons that because I think that's the biggest thing. What lessons did you learn when pivoting from that old thing to the new thing?
Yeah, there's feedback in everything, right? There's feedback in failure. There's feedback in success. There's feedback in the feelings of unfulfillment. And I feel like where I got trapped and where a lot of people get trapped is that people have well-meaning advice and there's well-meaning systems in place. Why would you let go of a good thing?
Right.
If it ain't broke, all of those things. And I just was like, okay, I guess that's what I'm supposed to listen to. And then finally listening to more of the inner voice.
Right.
I think we're in tune to listen to our inner voice for some things, but for other things, we think we're in charge.
Right.
And it's no, get more quiet, listen to it closer, because you're not getting the message.
Right.
So that was probably the biggest lesson for me. It's just it sounds cliche, but trust your gut.
Right.
It's why would you leave something that's making millions of dollars? Because I don't know, for some reason my gut says to.
Right. When you are in something that you don't feel fulfilled by, what are the steps that you would suggest people take to really decide, should I pivot or not?
I think you just actually said it. Decide.
That part.
I mean, it really, the wavering back and forth. Should I leave? Should I stay? Do the crossover? It's funny. Looking back, when I left my 9-to-5, 12 plus years ago, right? I had a 9-to-5 job. I wanted to be a stylist, and I was too afraid to leave the security of the 9-to-5. Paycheck every 2 weeks, health insurance, but I wanted to be a stylist. So I was using up sick days. I was coming in late. I was like, oh, I'm having a nervous breakdown. I need to go to therapy. And really, I'd be on set. So I was trying to straddle both. And then I got to this place where my boss was like, are you going to come to work? And I was like, well, actually, I want you to pay me. And then I'll do this. He's like, no, you need to make a decision. So at that point, 12 years ago, I made the decision to leave a secure job with no money, no savings, no plan. I lived off of unemployment and started my first business. And now this time, when I wasn't feeling fulfilled in my other company and was working on my personal brand, it was the same thing. I was trying to straddle both, and it can't be done. I know people think that it can, but you can't give something your undivided, pure attention if you're straddling it somewhere else. Right. So I just had to decide. I had to just ignore people that were like, well, why would you leave that? Well, that's dumb. Well, your thing will never work. And just decide, you know what? I haven't been dropped on my ass yet.
That part.
And once you decide, everything conspires to help you. Everything goes into motion. I mean, we were even talking the apartment that I was in that I really loved. I wanted to stay. It cost way more than what I was accustomed to paying. But my gut was like, you need to be here. Right. And it made no sense. And the moment I decided, F it, I'm staying. Everything the idea dropped in for the thing. The launch goes amazing. Everything unfolds. So decide.
Right. I love that. Find where you're feeling unfulfilled and decide.
Yeah.
Perfect. I totally agree, because if you're not doing the things that bring you joy, even if you're making the money, you're still going to feel off.
Yeah.
Right? Like you're saying, you're making the money, it was good, but you still feel off. So what are some of those things? Because I know you're very ritualistic as well. What are some of the things that you do, like whether you're in something you like or in something you're passing on, to just keep you balanced mentally? Because I know right now, a lot of people are not deciding and they're in the thick of it. And I know there was a period until you got this meditation and decided, where you were just like in practice, you're just feeling all the feelings. What are some of the rituals that you do regularly to just help you maintain your mental health?
Well, I am an avid journaler. I'm a journaling junkie,
right? Which
is funny because one of my earliest mentors, she would always say, get your pen, get your paper, start writing. I'm like, no. I don't do that.
Right.
No, I'm a typer. I'm a thinker. I think through it. And it wasn't for years later that I picked up a journal and a pen, and every day I journal every day, even if it's just for like a little bit of time. Sometimes it's a long time. Every day, journal. Every day, meditate.
I love that.
Those two things are like non-negotiables for me.
I love it. I love it. And that's where you got the download, is during the meditation.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. And so how do you feel like, you know, when it comes to basically when you built this new company, Style Boss, you know, and now you're going to be taking these people through, what are some of the golden nuggets that you will be giving these entrepreneurs on how to maintain their business?
One of the major things is purpose and connecting your story to your brand and your business.
Right.
So, you know, especially in the styling arena, which is funny, these principles that I teach, anytime I launch something new, I never just have an idea and just put it out there.
Right.
I always test it either on myself or on a small group of clients. Like, everything's always tested and proven. So I took a couple handfuls of people through a group coaching program based on what Style Boss Academy is. And I took stylists through it. I took life coaches through it. I took financial coaches through it. So the information applies, but purpose. Yeah. You can't just want to be a stylist because you think clothes are pretty and shopping's fun and everybody compliments your outfits. There's something that happened to you. There's some reason that a seed was planted in you,
right, that
said that you want to do this. And once you find out what that is and allow that to fuel you, then you can't not run your business, right? Like for me growing up, I always felt different. Like I just always felt like a weirdo, like as a self-proclaimed misfit. I'm an introvert and I could not express myself and I could not connect with people, like at all. And style enabled me to express myself. It enabled me to connect with people. So that was like the seed that was planted for my purpose. And then as I started to develop in my career, you know, I realized that myself and so many other women, they hold themselves back from their full potential, right? Because they think they have to fit into a certain box. So me growing up as a misfit, being like, well, I don't belong. Well, what if I dress like the goth kids? Will they embrace me into their community? Right. What if I put on the cheerleading uniform? And just having that power and like, no, I'm different. I'm going to express myself different. I'm going to go after what I want, even though it's not what everybody else is doing. It helps you align with your purpose. So that's part of my purpose in being a stylist, but other people have different things as well. I've got clients that are trauma survivors and style helps them re-enter the world. I'm like, let that fuel you. There's other trauma survivors that need that encouragement to get dressed and get back into the world and restart. Right. And if you think about them and that client, then you'll always do the hard work that's required.
Yes. I think that's what I love the most about Style Therapy, your book, is just how it helps people express, which is all about, the sacral chakra, and just it's a big part of how people align with their true purpose, which is very spiritual to me. So can you take us a little bit through the Style Therapy? Because I think I haven't done the full branch yet, but I find a little bit my style is really eclectic. I'm an upgraded bohemian, but also a style chameleon a bit. Mm-hmm. So can you take people through that kind of and this is really play for this community, right?
Yeah.
Just to do something that really express yourself.
Yeah. I mean, I'm the stylist who can't stand the fashion industry. I'm the anti-stylist stylist.
Right.
Because, trends, they're fun, but it's not you. Right. Dressing like the cool Instagram influencer who has all the designer clothes, that's cool, but it's not you.
Right.
So Style Therapy is about finding out who you are, knowing that who you are is constantly evolving. So style isn't a thing where you get it once.
Right.
Where you hire a stylist, you get new clothes, I got it, I'm stylish. No, for every chapter in your life, you need to rediscover yourself and show up as yourself in that chapter.
Right.
Even I'm manifestation queen. I love, manifesting. And if you want a certain life, freaking dress for it. Right. Embody that person, outsides, insides, whole thing, and you'll be shocked at what you can accomplish. So when you say you're a style chameleon, yes, because you're ever evolving. And that's a good thing.
I love that. But I specifically, since reading your book, have realized I love bell bottoms. Bell bottoms make me happy. They feel sexy and fun. So I love bell bottoms, and I love ripped jeans. So I have those. I want to feel sexy and fun and flowy with the bell bottoms, but the rich jeans are my edgy side and kind of another feel. I love long maxi dress. So the whole kind of 70s era is kind of how I vibe. And I like texture. So I realized I like kind of over fitted shirts, or super fitted shirts, right? And so I've gotten a little bit more clear on myself. I'm still a style chameleon, but I definitely have what are those signature pieces that I reach for all the time? And how do I express myself, and how do I feel when I wear it? Which was therapy for me.
You're making me very proud right now, very proud, because there's always going to be certain threads that hold our style together. Those signature pieces that no matter what, if you're dressed casually or you're on a red carpet, there's something that's still always you. And when you're connected to that authenticity of you, people know that, and people are oh my God, that's so Koya, you got to get that. My God, because it's you. They're feeling that connection between you and the garment, and it could change and it would still be you.
I love that. And I love that you said, we're always rediscovering ourselves, because I feel it's the same way in style, but it's the same way in entrepreneurship as well. Like you said, I was doing this, but then I rediscovered myself, and now I'm doing something else. Same thing with clothes. I was wearing that, but now I'm rediscovering. And I think that's so key, no matter what you're doing in life, that you allow yourself an opportunity to rediscover yourself.
Yeah. And that's why the inner work is so important. And whether I'm teaching people about style or teaching people about business, we always start with the inner work. And I laugh so hard because people will reach out to my team about working with me. And when we tell them what the process entails, they're I already did the inner work. And I'm ha ha. The inner work never ends.
Yes, that part. That part. Okay, so we got to know this. So what does your inner work process look like? Break it down for us.
Yeah, well, in terms of style therapy, you start with the 7-day selfie challenge, which just seems simple enough. You take a selfie of yourself every day and you write down how you feel, how you are perceived, how you look that day.
Yeah.
But for so many women, this blows my mind, I guess, because I'm in style and so many people don't work in this industry, but people don't look at themselves. People don't have a full-length mirror. People don't slow down to really take in themselves and take in their surroundings.
Yeah.
And even just looking in the mirror and analyzing what's being reflected back at all angles is very deep inner work. Shocking. People are that was really eye-opening. Like, it was kind of freaky. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. It really is. I remember going through a period of life when I was working, I was just pouring into others, which I like to serve, but there's a, codependency and over serving to where I have to check myself, right?
Me too.
And in that time period where I was over serving, I didn't look at the mirror. I wore black all the time. I didn't want to see. I knew I was putting on pounds. I didn't care. And I didn't want to look. I didn't even want a mirror. And I never wore shorts. And then one day I decided to look in the mirror naked. And I was like, oh, maybe I should start working out and putting more time into myself. So what would you say to that as a style therapist?
Yeah. I mean, you got to rip off the Band-Aid and look. You're like, it's scary, but it's the first step, you know? It is. If you think about any, recovery program,
right?
Admitting is the first step with style. Looking is the first step.
So true. And where does self-acceptance come to play? Because it's I feel like that's kind of where we're in a, body positivity, self-love, acceptance, which I think is very important. So how do you take people into that of I accept myself and I love myself where I am and
want to get somewhere else?
Exactly. Exactly. How do you help people through that hump?
So, I do a lot of love your body work. I have a challenge that I do every year, Love Your Body Style Challenge. And I hear so many clients come to me and they're like, well, I'm not going to work on my style until I lose the weight.
That part.
And I'm like, girl, you got it all backwards, because if you beat yourself up and treat yourself like crap, I don't deserve basic human, what is it? Shelter, food, clothing. Those are the basic human things you need. You're depriving yourself of one of them because you feel you're not worthy.
Right.
So until you can actually be in total love and acceptance of self now, that loving energy will actually encourage you to take care of yourself.
Right.
So, it's pandemic. I put on a couple pounds, but I'm not going to torture myself and wear ugly sweatpants and leggings.
Right.
And have the clothes in my closet taunt me because they're too small. No, I'm going to show up. I'm going to love myself and be like, if this was it and all these extra curves stay, can I still love myself? Because it's just your human shell.
Right.
And I also encourage people to look, but zoom out. So get naked in the mirror, look, and zoom out, because we're so zoomed in. Look at that cellulite. Look at that gray hair. Look at that wrinkle. Nobody else sees that.
Right.
Zoom out. See a powerful body that has 2 legs and can walk. A body that maybe birthed a child.
Right.
A body that has gone through it and is still here.
Right.
Have some love and appreciation for what you have. It's with gratitude. Right. If you're not grateful for what you have, you're telling the universe, I don't want any more.
I was just thinking that so much gratitude when you were just saying that, the gratitude gets you past that self critic.
Yeah.
Right. Just being grateful that you're here, you're alive, and now you're aware, and now you have goals for yourself. So they're doing the selfie challenge, right?
Yeah.
All right. Take us through the selfie challenge. We do the picture and.
Yeah. So, we start with the style self-discovery, in terms of looking at ourselves. And then we go a little bit deeper and think about, what do you want? What do you want?
Right.
Because people don't think about that either. They've got limitations on what they think they can have. So we're working on setting a vision for the future. I have them make a vision board for their life and their style. What's the life you want? And can you imagine yourself having that life in your crusty old clothes?
Right.
No, we need your new upgraded clothes to get you there.
Exactly.
We go through style roadblocks, the things that keep us from being our best selves, whether it's body image issues, whether it's money issues. So many people have trouble spending money on themselves.
Right.
Their abundance thinking is totally out of whack. So I'm helping you scrub that brain, because you can't build something new if you got all these blocks in the way.
Right.
Once we see the vision for what's possible, you absolutely want to dress as that person. And then, of course, I teach you how to shop the way that a stylist would shop, because the way that normal people are trained to shop is fueled by an industry that wants you to feel bad about yourself, so you spend more money on yourself.
Right. Yes, so true. And can you take people through how to shop like a stylist? I think that when you shop like a stylist, it's also more fun as well.
Yeah. So a normal person, here's how a normal person shops. I need jeans. So they go, to the store. Maybe they go online. They see maybe 2 pair of jeans that they like. Oh, these jeans are great. Bell bottoms. I love them. Order them. Try them on. They don't fit. This is what they say. Jeans never fit me. Girl, you tried on 2. You tried on 2.
Right.
When I'm working with the styling client, if I were dressing you for an event and you needed 1 dress for the event, I would bring you at least 25 dresses.
Right.
At least. So we could get down to 1.
Right.
So when people understand that, it's not you, it's the clothes.
Right.
You need more clothes. So it's more like an experiment. It's more like a project. Like, okay, cool. I'm going to get like 15 pair of jeans. I'm going to get all these shirts. I'm going to actually play with my clothes, put different combinations together, and I'm going to see what works and feels really good. Right. And the rest goes back to the store. It's not personal.
I love that. And that is now how I shop. I think I have like 8 pair of bell bottoms and I have a lot of clothes. And now I'm literally going to like kind of recondo my place and like really narrow down to like, what are you wearing all the time?
And that's the thing. When you get in tune with yourself and the things that you love and you stop personalizing, things that don't work for you and you get away from your like weird tweaks and obsessions, you realize that you don't actually need a lot of stuff. Right. Like I have a very well curated closet, get rid of stuff all the time. I don't need a bunch of stuff because going through the style therapy process, I'm sure you've heard this saying, like how you do anything is how you do everything.
Yes.
So we can analyze our style and realize that those behaviors actually permeate into other areas of our life. Yeah. So for me growing up, we always shopped on sale. Like we would go to TJ Maxx, we would go to Marshall's. If we went to a department store, we would shop on the sale rack. I only chose out of what was left. Right. I never allowed myself to see all of the options, only what's left. And through going through the style therapy, I'm like, I do that with men. Oh, it would be like whoever picked me.
Right. That part.
It didn't matter if they were toxic or trash or whatever. I'm like, that's all that's left for me. I didn't realize that I had choice. So it's just those things like, wow.
Yeah. The style buffet, as you say.
Yeah.
And the man buffet, you can actually date a lot of men.
Right.
And pick the one that fits best with you.
Right.
I definitely can say, like, I'm guilty of that. Like, for sure, it's like, oh, this person likes me and gives me attention.
Yeah.
So, okay, this is who I'm dating now.
Exactly.
No, how about date a lot of guys that like you and that are into you and you decide
try on some different outfits. Try on some different
and then
men.
send back the ones.
Yes.
Okay, she's giving you style advice and men advice. Here we go. I think a lot of people are going to be trying that out. We want to hear in the DMs and the comments, if you tried the style buffet and the man buffet or woman buffet or partner buffet, depending on your preference, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I absolutely love that. And so now we want to get into a little bit of like kind of like your rituals and your routine. I know you like tea, I know you journal and write, but there are some other things that you do, especially when it comes to like how you wear your clothes, when you wear your clothes, that you could share with us.
Yeah, well, a good style ritual to adopt, and I'll admit, I don't always do it perfectly myself, but planning out your outfits ahead of time. Right. So I have like style party Sundays, right? Little outfit planning party. Make it fun. So I'll like turn on, I love watching stand-up comedy. I love to laugh through life, So I'll put on like, little special, little Kevin Hart, little Dave Chappelle special, have it on the background because I've seen it 1,000 times. I don't need to look at it. Right. And I just get in my closet and I play. I'll make myself some tea or have myself some Pellegrino. And I'll play in my clothes and I'll pre-plan outfits. So when you wake up in the morning, you're not having that moment of dread. Right. What am I going to wear today? Right. Standing in front of the closet. Am I bloated today? Am I fat today? Is this going to fit? Like, what's going on?
Right.
Like you just have all of these things set up so you can get more in tune with yourself.
Yeah.
What kind of day do I need to have today? Like, who do I need to show up as today?
I love that.
If I'm going to be on camera teaching, hosting a webinar or something, I'm in boss mode. So I want to have like a preset outfit that I know works, that I know makes me feel powerful, that I can pull.
I love it.
Right?
I love it.
We're like, you know, you got to chill energy. We're like, we are amongst the plants and things. Like, I want it to feel a little...
Yeah, a little classy, bohemian style.
Yeah.
I love it.
But like, I don't have to stress.
Right.
Because it's just... Being a stylist for so long, I've heard so many stories, and it breaks my heart, where you've got powerful women, they're CEOs, and they're crying in their closet.
Yeah.
I think we've all cried in our closet a time or two.
Yeah.
This doesn't fit. I have nothing to wear. Just cancel. I'm not going to go. So if you adopt the ritual of pre-planning and having like signature things, and in the book, I've got a space for you to have a lookbook. We're like... I'm just going to put that on and go about my business.
My best friend is Stretch. I'm like, does it stretch? Good. Then I don't have to worry about, because being a thick thigh woman, it's like, you know, 1 minute it fits and the next minute or a couple donuts later, it's like, I can't get my leg in these jeans. So like stretch and leggings, like my favorite thing. Because it sucks when you can't fit your favorite pair of jeans, especially when you've been in sweats. We've been at home a lot, in sweats a lot, and you go to put on your jeans, like, oh man, come on.
And it's amazing how quickly style will throw off your energy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anything you can do for yourself to combat that ahead of time is going to help your mental well-being as well.
So true. I'm doing the planning party. I gotta do that. I gotta put that in my schedule. Sundays are a good day to do it as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you know, another ritual of mine that I have is I wake up early because I need a good 2-3 hours to get myself together for the day. And not because I'm like obsessively curling my hair or putting on my makeup. I need to meditate. I need to journal. I need to listen to an audiobook. I need to be able to take my time getting dressed. I need to be able to put on my makeup just so I feel good. I need to be able to go out and walk my dog and make a nice tea.
Right.
People don't set aside enough time for themselves, and I'll hear pushback. Well, you don't have kids and you don't have this. Girl, make some time for yourself. Figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have stuff to do too.
Yeah.
You need some me time.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so important. And I'm glad you said that, because I was just talking to my sister, and, you know, it is difficult when you have kids. And I'm like, maybe some mornings you can take the kids, and maybe sometimes your friends, you really do, because it is hard when your kids wake you up and they're in your face asking for food and hugs and all the things, right? And so, but I found it, whether you're co-parenting and you're, you know, having the kids stay at another place, but that morning time, even if you can't get it every morning, a couple times a week, it is so clutch. And for people who like wake up and have to work at 6 a.m. or have those, or have children that wake them up early, you literally have to find some type of way to at least a couple times a week have it differently. And I feel like that's where community comes in.
Yes. Yeah. And that's the thing. Everything doesn't have to be all or nothing.
Right.
Right. For me, I have the luxury. I have a dog and a cat that act like children and are in my face, but I can wake up every morning. I can have my own time. Some people can't, but doing it one day a week is better than no days a week.
Yes, that part.
You know, figuring out a way. Sometimes I'm super busy, or I'll have meetings that are on the East Coast. So I'm like, I gotta be on Zoom at 6. Well, I'm gonna do my meditation and journaling at 4 in the afternoon. Like, you just have to get in time to be in touch with yourself, because that's where all the answers come from.
So true. I love that too, that I'm a morning person too. I love my morning ritual. I want it to happen, but sometimes it doesn't. But like you said, if it doesn't happen in the morning, then put it in the evening instead of skipping it for the whole day.
Right.
Now I admit it's harder in the evening for me. I don't know if it's harder for you, but I'm like, I want to get it. And like, I'm sleepy, I'm tired. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so good. So I want to kind of get into your favorite things, a little bit of your favorite things. As you know, Get Loved Up is spirituality, wellness, and entrepreneurship. So spirituality, because where are you from? Where did you grow up?
I grew up right outside of DC, a little suburb in Virginia.
Awesome. And what has your spiritual journey been like, going from, that reality to the reality you're in now? Because I know you're more into meditation and journey. What was your spiritual journey like?
Well, it didn't exist for a very long time,
right,
at all. And I got sober when I was 28 years old. And sobriety changed the whole game for me.
Right.
My whole reality shifted. And when you take away, if you're dependent on a substance or you're just dependent on something to escape from yourself,
right,
you miss everything. So I remember when I first got sober, I'll never forget it. I was driving down Hauser Boulevard in Los Angeles, and I was at a stoplight, and I was like, damn, that tree is green. That shit is green. I never even really taken the time to look at a tree. And it was look at all this around me. How did I get here? What?
Right.
What? And for some reason, that weird tree moment just reset me.
Right.
It just reset me. And I just slowly started to listen to people that seemed to have their life together. And they were doing things like being of service and meditating and reading.
Right.
And that's really where the journey began when I was 28. And now I'm 41. And every day it just gets stronger because you realize that so many things are possible that seemed impossible.
Right. When
you're plugged into your source.
Right.
And I thought that stuff was a bunch of freaking baloney before.
Right.
What?
Yeah.
It even is crazy that I would talk about it now because that was not how I was.
Right.
But every year it just gets a little bit stronger because I just feel like you need that power as you grow,
Yeah, absolutely. It's something that, I love in the spiritual center I go to is trans-denominational because you never know how a person can plug into source, can plug into spirit or God or so whatever you want to call it. But I love talking to different people about how they connect, and energetically you feel the difference. So whether no matter what name you have for oneness, God, the source, spirit, you feel it, right? You feel it. And even when you got the meditation and you got this download that I call divine downloads, when it just drops in, right? You still felt oh, that's it. That's the answer. Before you were in darkness.
Yeah.
Right? Is there any book that you read that really inspired your journey?
Yeah. Well, one of my favorite books, this was more later in the journey, but Becoming Supernatural by Dr. Joe Dispenza.
Yes.
That book, that is one of Lauren's life changer books for sure. It's the idea of feeling, because I've always felt dressing, dressing helps me feel.
Right.
So changing your clothes and embodying who you want to be has always been my philosophy. But then hearing from Joe Dispenza about feeling being part of that manifestation process for creating your own reality.
Right.
I don't know, it just was such a shift for me.
Right.
And doing his meditations, that book, I love that book. And he has other books that I think come before that book, but I don't know, Becoming Supernatural, woo.
Agreed. Becoming Supernatural is one of my favorites. It's in my yoga teacher training. I tell everyone, read the book because it helps explain some of the science behind why it works as well. So definitely a personal favorite as well. And when it comes to taking care of yourself, because you are glowing, I mean, of course you had a great launch, you're glowing, but what are the things that you do in your diet and nutrition to help, you stay healthy? Yeah. So I would say that I won't go as far to say I'm vegan, but I'm 99% of the time vegan. Sometimes I've realized that I'm a very extreme person. The alcohol abuse is kind of a dead giveaway. Right.
I'm very extreme and I'm trying to seek more balance in my life. So I do eat mostly plant-based because I just feel like it makes me feel better. But the ability to be I don't know, maybe if I want a little piece of cheese, I'm going to eat the little piece of cheese. So plant-based. I love infrared saunas. I miss going to the sauna. Freaking pandemic,
right,
took away my Wii Spa visits. So I bought, I don't know, do you know Higher Dose?
Higher Dose, yeah, I've definitely heard of them.
So I got their infrared sauna blanket.
Okay.
It's like a little sleeping bag.
Yeah.
So I do that to like detox, which is helpful. And of course I exercise, and I get sun. I go in the sun.
That vitamin D.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good. That's so good. It instantly boosts your mood when you get into the natural sun. And just to let you know, I just went to Wee Spa the other day, so it's back open.
Okay, cool. All right.
So whenever we want to go,
we gotta go. Yeah. But I realized as far as like the glow is it's inside stuff. Like I struggled with adult acne for years, and I was like the best dermatologist in, Beverly Hills, every kind of ointment and potion, nothing worked. The second I took away soy and dairy, skin perfect.
It's amazing. Yeah, it looks
rarely a blemish. So I'm like, I would have like La Mer, like lotion. You don't need that stuff.
Right. It's from the inside out.
Eat right, get some sun, sweat, be happy.
Yeah. And you work out too regularly?
Yeah.
How many times do you work out?
Yeah. So I have a trainer I work out with 3 times a week.
Nice.
I definitely was more like hardcore on the fitness pre-pandemic. And then I got out the groove. So now 3 times a week and I walk every day, but I want to get in a little bit more.
Yeah. I
want to get in a little bit more.
The daily, you want to match it with the daily journaling?
Yeah, like that would be nice. I need to get back into it. I miss my yoga studio that was lost in the pandemic.
Yeah.
I used to go every day. It was just so wonderful. But
it's nothing like daily yoga. But talk a little bit, because I know a lot of people are going through substance abuse, and I know that's something that you have, overcome. Can you share a little bit about that journey?
Yeah. I mean, I think realizing, and everyone has their own like unique journey, but for me, it was realizing why I was drinking in excess.
Right.
That really makes it so I never want to do it again. So like, especially being in Los Angeles, you go out, you're not drinking, you go on a date, you're not drinking, you don't drink ever. What? Like, what's wrong with you? I don't need it.
Right.
And I really needed it before because I felt so uncomfortable.
Right.
I always felt so uncomfortable. Like growing up feeling like a misfit. I could never express myself. If I liked a boy, I would have to get wasted and do something stupid to be like, oh, I was drunk. Like I couldn't just say like, hey, I like you. Like we should, we should go out sometime. Friends. Like I couldn't go to a party. I couldn't be social. Like I needed it to survive. And then once it was taken away, because it needed to be taken away because it destroyed my life.
Right.
But being like, I actually get to work on being a human. Like I actually get to work on being present and being confident and understanding when I feel uncomfortable, why that is and how to work through it. So I like being in life.
Right. You can actually feel.
Yeah. I like to feel. I like to remember. So I like to be uncomfortable to figure out how I can not be that way.
Right.
It's really cool for me. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely a journey when you take away the thing that's been protecting you, but also destroying you.
Right.
Very uncomfortable. So I would say for anyone who's out there who's struggling, find people that have what you want, right? Like I just surrounded myself. I had never met people that didn't drink when I was drinking.
Wow.
I literally didn't think sober. I'd never even heard of a sober person. I really didn't. And then once that shift was made and I'm like, oh my gosh, you don't drink, you're happy. I'm like, I better just hang out with these people.
Right.
See what they're doing. And it just shifts the whole dynamic. So just like find someone and just be like, can I just be around you?
Right.
They'll want you to, because they'll want you to have, the freedom that they've experienced.
I think that's beautiful, especially right now, because a lot of people, because of the mental health pandemic, basically are turning to substance abuse. And I know even myself, like sometimes I have social anxiety. Like when I feel like someone's going to be small and it's big, I've noticed that I get really uncomfortable, and usually I will drink when I normally won't.
Right.
You know, and I literally have to like cut myself off. And I didn't notice that until recently. I was like, girl, you have a little social anxiety like within the last year, you know?
Yeah.
Even during the pandemic, you know, as a person that didn't drink that much, and it's just like, oh, well, this is in the cabinet, kind of stressed out. So I was like, oh, okay, but it was good to notice it, to feel it and say, I don't want that. Like, I don't want that reality. I don't want to not feel. If I'm in pain, let me breathe through that. Let me journal through that. Let me do all these practices that I know instead of having that quick fix.
Yeah. And, you know, for some people like me, I know I can't have it again. Yeah. You know, like it would be awesome if I was like, oh, yeah, like, no, I just feel better without it. Like, I'll leave it alone. But sometimes I'll have it just for fun. Like, not me. Like, no, girl, you can't have none of it.
Right.
So understanding the distinction, and it was tough for me in the beginning because I had an idea of what someone with a substance abuse problem looked like. And I'm like, well, that ain't me. Like, I got a job, I got a car, like, big deal. But no, like it was a big deal because it was a real dependency that could not be shaken.
Right.
And it's like, you know, I don't even understand people that can have like one cookie and like put them away. Like, don't leave me with a bag of Oreos because like they're all going to be gone. Like some people have that switch and some people the switch is just broken.
Right.
My joint's broken.
Right. No, I feel you. I think that, you know, I have an addictive personality, right? And it can be with anything. Like it could be with substances. It could be with cookies, nuts, season. And I'm just like you, like, I'm not going to have it in the house.
Yeah.
And that was kind of my key, like, okay, get it, which is different. You know, I want to acknowledge it's different with alcohol.
Yeah.
But, you know, since we transitioned to food, but I have to tell myself, like, don't keep it in your house. I'm not a person that can keep things in my house and not like completely consume it when I'm feeling bad, especially there is a tub of ice cream. Done. I'm not talking about a small miniature, a couple ounces. I mean the big tub, 24 to 32 ounces of ice cream, you know? Like, so I really relate to like, sometimes you just have to put it out of sight, you know, or completely cut yourself off. Saying, okay, if I can't practice balance with that, then I just can't have it at all.
Because when you cut yourself off, you get to look at why you did it in the first place.
Right.
Like, if I have frozen tater tots in the house, we eating tater tots for every damn meal.
Right.
You know? So like when they're not there, it's like, wait, why am I not slowing down to like nourish myself and like actually make a meal? Like if you cut yourself off from ordering DoorDash every day, you're like, well, why do I have time to wait 45 minutes for it to show up, but not to like cut up some vegetables and make a salad? Like you just get to look at things from a different angle when you take, you know, the little pacifier away.
I love it. I love it. So excited. Thank you so much. Like I really have this one question that I want to ask, and I ask, you know, everyone on the podcast, like if you could wake up and it was Lauren's world, what would it look like? Oh,
my goodness. You know what I realized? Is no matter what world I'm in, I can be happy. Like it's, you know, it's pretty crazy. When I was living in my condo and I remodeled it and it was beautiful, and like literally in the pandemic, I would just look around. I'm like, I am so freaking lucky. Like, look at this place. This is beautiful and amazing. And then I moved somewhere else in a neighborhood I didn't think I wanted to live in. And I'm like, this is amazing too. Like anywhere I go, it's my world and I can really like it. So I think it's big for me because of that like addictive personality, always looking for the next best thing.
Right.
You're never fulfilled because you're always looking at what's next.
Right.
So actually being able to be like, if this were it, can I be happy? Yes, I can.
Right.
So my world is whatever world I'm in.
I love it. I love it. Ashe, ashe, ashe. So beautiful. Okay, well, tell us what you got coming up for people and what you have to offer and where people can find you.
Yeah. So definitely find me on the gram. Laura Messiah, or YouTube if you want some free fashion and business advice. My YouTube channel is poppin'.
Yes.
So definitely come hang out with me online there. And of course, my book, Style Therapy, and any aspiring style entrepreneurs, be on the lookout for the next Style Boss Academy launch.
Yay! Thank you so much. Y'all share your biggest takeaways. DM me, DM Lauren. Let us know what you like most about this episode. And thank you again for your reviews. It's because of your reviews that more and more people are finding the Get Loved Up podcast and being able to enjoy how to really thrive mentally, spiritually, physically, following our guests, their spiritual, their wellness, and their entrepreneurship journey. So thank you so much, Lauren, for being here. And I'll see y'all next time. I just want to take a moment to say thank you for being part of the Get Loved Up community. I like to share topics and people making a positive impact in the world, and your feedback means the world to me. If you haven't already left a review, please leave a 5-star review and let me know what you want to hear more of on the show. I'm here for you, and together we're making the world a better place, one day at a time, one show at a time. Thank you for listening.